I don't even know, what's my uptime right now? Let's actually quickly check it. We've been streaming for 6 hours, 7 hours basically. So yeah, we're going to do the build video right now. Let's do this. That was non-crit, I know, man. Okay, so we're going to buff up. Actually, are we? No, we're not. Anyway, for the record, guys, I'm actually recording on YouTube at the same time as I do this. So if it does sound like I'm talking over myself, now you know why, okay? Hello guys, and welcome to my video for my Stamina Nightblade build for the patch Dark Brotherhood. Now this is a more serious build than the last one I posted. This build is really, really effective. It is a huge healing build for a Stamina Nightblade. Stamina Nightblades really lack heals, that is something we do struggle with, but this build allows us to make the most of the new potions whilst still putting out enormous damage, probably more than any other build you're going to see in terms of burst damage, and we have insane dots. It's a really different build. We are running Vampirism for a start. We're running no cloak, which is really important for me because I don't like to use it. It's a little overpowered in my opinion. Even though it is bugged, I just don't really like to run it. So yeah, we're going to go into skills and things right now. And obviously our set. So we'll start off with our food. The food we're using is this one here. It gives us max health and stamina recovery. Magic recovery is kind of unimportant for this. The only thing we're going to need it for is our mist form. We honestly don't need it that much for that because most of the time we're going to rely on our healing dots, which I'll explain when I get onto that. The potion we're using, and this is a huge part of the build, are these two. Essence of Detection, which gives us stealth detection, which is for not marking Nightblades. If they're just cloaking, we can use it and find them and kill them nice and quick. And Major Vitality, which is going to increase our healing. And then we have Essence of Lingering Health. Now this is our main potion if they're not cloak spamming. This is exactly the same, gives us Major Vitality and a huge healing dot. So what Major Vitality does is it increases our healing by 30%. And you have no idea how valuable this is in a 1vx situation or a 1v1 situation as a Nightblade, because DKs and Templars, you have major mending, and that's exactly what this is doing. You do not have the heals as a Nightblade. That is what you lack, and this gives us the opportunity to do that. And it ties really nicely in with our set. So because we don't need something like tripods to actually use a burst heal in our set, we're able to run something that is more free to use. We can use it whenever we want. We don't have to use it instantly. So how we use this is we are using it with 5 Alchemist. We're using Defending on the Battle Axe because most of the time I'm running a defensive set on this. I don't really use any attacks on this bar, so it's more all buffs and heals. Defending is probably more useful. If you are going to put In-Cap Strike on there, which I sometimes do for duels, Sharpen is also good. I do have that, just not on me. So I do sometimes use Sharpen. Both of those are good. Then our other pieces are just crafted. We have Heavy Body and Light Sash to get the 5 Undaunted. And then our last piece is here on the boots, but it doesn't really matter where it is, and here on the gloves. So we got 5 on that bar. On our other bar, we're running 5 Viper. You need 2 sharpened weapons. It's really essential you get sharpened Viper weapons. Now, this is expensive. If you're low on money, you're going to have to find a way to get it. That's basically all I can say. It is expensive. You can farm it in Sanctum, but it's kind of hard. If you do need to learn how to make money, check my YouTube out. I do have plenty of guides on how to make money, farming, etc. and trading, which is the best money in the game. But you do want these, and I would advise maces or mace and sword, because you're going to want the penetration of the maces. If you're against light armor, swords better. So duels, I quite often run 1 mace, 1 sword, but open world, I think I prefer mace. After that, we are running 3 agility. The agility, we are running currently 2 stamina recovery. I was using 2 weapon damage, but I swapped that up actually today. I'm preferring that. I may even go for 1 more recovery because the weapon damage is still well over 4k when we buff up. But I'm undecided on that. But certainly, you want 3 agility and just adjust the recovery and weapon damage as you like. If we go into the stats real quick, I'm just going to buff up because obviously we have Alchemist. There we go. We go onto our bar. We are 4.1k up to about 4.5k weapon damage, which is huge. We can get massive damage on some of our abilities. We are also 33k stamina, which is pretty big considering we're running gold food, the food I showed you before, which isn't giving us max stamina. You could run that, but you're going to lack on recovery then, so you're just going to have to swap a jewelry enchant, which just isn't worth it. At the same time, we are 2.2k to 2.3k stamina recovery, which is also obviously really nice. And 25k health, because Alchemist helps on that, which really helps with the high damage. It gives you a lot more survivability, which is super useful. But yeah, someone was asking me in the chat, Templars have major mending. Yeah, Templars have major mending. It's from one of your skills, maybe even a passive. So that is the sets and the gear. The last thing to mention is the champion point. So this is something people always ask me to do. It's pretty basic, but there is one really weird thing to come on to. So in the champion points, we have a few in tumbling. We're not over dodging, to be honest, because we have so many heal dots on our skills, which I'll come on to in a sec. and we are running mostly in stamina recovery and cost reduction in this tree. A couple in Magicka and bashing, but it doesn't matter. The reason we have bash is to interrupt. Expert defender, just a couple of points in here, and quick recovery, a couple of points in here for a little extra stuff there. But most of our points are going in hardy and elemental defender to unlock the unchained passive, which is just so invaluable for stamina. And at the same time, it's going to give us a lot of tank ability. A couple in fixing for dots and a couple in crit resist. And then we move into blue. Obviously 100 in mighty for physical damage. A few in here. We do have some dots, which I'll show you when I move on to the skills. And then the precise strikes for crit. We do have a lot of crit bonuses from the Viper, which is nice. I'll explain exactly what the sets do in a sec, whilst I explain it with my skills. A couple in these, they're not that important, it's up to you. But we do have 30 in Blessed. So when I show you what Viper actually does, you'll realise why I've put 30 in Blessed. But Viper is currently bugged and is scaling from spell damage and spell crit. So this unlocks the passive here for spell crit. The healing is already useful, and the spell crit is quite a big increase for 30 points. So it is worth putting in my opinion. So what these sets do, Alchemist is kind of obvious. It's just increasing our weapon damage and spell damage really huge when we pop the potion. The spell damage again is going to increase our Viper proc. But the Viper itself is proccing a damage on the 5-piece for 8k every 4 seconds. This is enormous, enormous damage. It is crazy. When you're using this with a heavy attack weave, so heavy attack, ability, and bash, you're going to proc it pretty much every weave, and it's so much damage. Lastly, we're going to move on to skills. So this is kind of weird. The first skill we're running here is Blood Craze. This is a morph of a dual wield skill, if I quickly show you that. It procs a really huge dot, 10k dot and 2k base damage. The base damage actually feels like more because it starts the dot instantly. But it's also healing us 1k every 2 seconds, which is a really nice heal over time, especially when stacked with our Vitality pots. Surprise stat, this is just our spammable DPS. It gives major fracture, it's really good damage. Fairly obvious, really. And then we have Resolving Vigor. This is our main heal, apart from Rally, of course. When we buff this up, we're getting nearly a 15k heal. It's absolutely massive before we even get Vitality. So with Vitality, we're getting nearly 20k. Basically, we can rip a Vigor and we're going to be full health. Mistform. So the reason we're using Mistform is against Sorks. If a Sorcerer drops Mines, you are GG as a close combat stamina. So as dual wield, if we run Mistform, what we can do is we pop the Mistform and we do a lap of the mines in that Mistform. It's going to do barely any damage and it will destroy the mines. Against a really top tier Sork, it's a little harder, but it does work. And the last skill we're using on this front bar is Rearming Trap. Now this is the godsend of stamina. If you are not using this on stamina, you are not playing your stamina class right. It is insane damage. Basically in a 1 versus 1, stamina versus stamina, this is controlling my fights. This is the difference between winning or losing, how many traps I land or hit. When this is fully buffed, if I actually do that again now, when this is fully buffed, it is hitting instant 5k damage and a 14k dot, as well as rooting them and granting us minor force to increase our crit by 12%. This is from the Fighter Guild tree, by the way. Also, by using a Fighter Guild tree, we're unlocking the passive to give ourselves 3% extra weapon damage. I can't remember which it is. It's somewhere on there. There it is. And we have Dawnbreaker's ulti for the same reason, as well as the CC. Read all the passives, dude. What, you mean the Fighter Guild? I mean, most of them aren't that useful, but yeah. So, on the other bar, on our two-handed bar, we're just running Ambush. This is a gap close. We're not really using this for any particular DPS. So, honestly, that's why I go with defending. Siphoning attacks is for our sustain. So, this, when we light attack or heavy attack, it's going to give us resources back. It's a lot of them. Rally is our main heal. It procs a big dot heal, as well as being a huge burst heal if we keep it up. You want to keep good uptime on this. Make sure you're always keeping your rally up. It's a really important skill. And then Shuffle, this is just obvious. This is a really overpowered dodge chance. It does need a bit of a nerf, but yeah, just run this. It goes without saying. And it also removes snares, which right now are very heavy. Fear is our main CC. It will also give them a snare and give them minor maim, so it's a really good skill to have. And finally, here I would normally run Bats for open world and Incap for a duel. It obviously depends on that. But yeah, guys, I think that covers everything. I'm going to quickly ask my chat if they do have any questions, but that does cover anything. If there's any questions, I will also include it in the videos. But that is the main part of the build. So did anyone have any questions regarding the build? Any questions at all, guys?